We never know where life will lead us or what may hinder us along the way. But while every day can feel like one big question mark, it doesn't have to. With the right insights, strategies, and solutions from Western and Southern Financial Group, together we can look ahead to leave the unknown behind.
Coming in hot this morning, Mike. I've got a story for you. I got some new glasses. Let me get the solo here. Solo. The tortoise shell. It's like if you get in close, there's a little tortoise action on these. I've gotten a lot of compliments so far.
They kind of look like my glasses.
They do look like your glasses. You pointed that out. I didn't mean for that to be a thing, but if you want to hang out after this, I'd like to. The story I've got. We haven't brought up my dad in a while. There was one time, so we've talked a lot about my cars that I've had. My dad has like wrecked 3 or 4 of them. One of the cars he wrecked was a 77 Trans Am, Pontiac Trans Am, V8. Thing was, I think, front wheel drive, so you could burn out in gravel and stuff like that. It was sick.
I don't know shit about cars. You know this. You changed my oil.
I apologize. That's true. But for this car, one day he was late to either an AA meeting. No, it was something, an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. And if he missed this one, he was going to get screwed by his parole officer or something. It was like a big one you couldn't miss. But my car, the Trans Am, was like running hot. You know, it was not doing well. It was the radiator, I think, had a leak, so then it ran hot to a point where you had to like consistently fill it with water. And he was one of those guys where he like put it into first gear when he didn't need to, and it was just like, it was a disaster. So this thing was overheating, and we had to stop at every gas station like 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes we had to stop, fill it with water, and I was like, dude, this thing's gonna blow up. We do this for like an hour and a half, and like the heat in the Bay Area in the summer, trying to get to this AA meeting. We're already 15 minutes late, getting to 30 minutes late. We finally get there. Engine's on fire, blowing up, black smoke. We get there. He goes in. He's like, oh, dude, they won't let me in. I'm late. I'm like, the car is toast. We had to leave the car there, couldn't tow it back. We walk back like 2 hours back to the house, cracks open a cold one, and that's all she wrote. Never made that meeting again. Parole officer was a little upset, but that's how that car blew up. He also, that same car, the reason the radiator was even in that position.
You just leave the car then, just like that car.
Yeah, game over. Dead. See you later. Have a good one. All right, I'll see you. But the other time, the reason that radiator was already in a bad spot, there was one time where he was kind of inebriated in the passenger seat, and we were on the freeway, and he was shifting for me when I was telling him to like stop, you can't do that. It wasn't a manual car. Like, you're not supposed to shift an automatic to like down gear and stuff on the freeway and stuff, but he wanted to like show off the fucking whatever, and it was like, that's how it originally overheated, how originally the radiator kind of busted. So that car was his fault. He bought it for me at the time, but it was like $1,000 junker. Either way, that was the story I wanted to rip with. My dad's a legend in a lot of ways.
That's like I said, I don't know shit about cars, but I know you're probably not supposed to do that.
No, you weren't. Yeah. You're not. And my dad knows that too. But yeah, having to walk back after he missed the meeting and him grabbing a 6-pack at the liquor store on the way back is just like an all-encompassing like, buddy.
Yeah.
What are your
decisions
Decisions. All right, let's get into some other decisions here. Chris Sims, wide receiver rankings. Mm-hmm. If you haven't seen these yet or you haven't listened to his podcast, I encourage you to go listen to it. I think it's called Unbuttoned with Chris Sims. He came out with his wide receiver rankings, and the funny thing is the host of the podcast said something along the lines of everyone has their big 3, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith in some sort of order, and he goes, wait, I got a different big 3. I don't have the same big 3 as everyone else. His receiver rankings are, he has Jamar Chase at 1, of LSU, Devontae Smith of Alabama at 2, and not Jalen Waddle at 3. He has Diami Brown of North Carolina at 3, a guy that we've talked to a ton about with Connor Rogers when he was on the podcast a few episodes ago and said he just can't see it. Yeah, Connor Rogers said, I just can't see it. I can't see it with Diami Brown. Then he has Jalen Waddle of Alabama at 4. This is back to Chris Sims' rankings. Kadarius Toney at 5. And then Terrace Marshall Jr., friend of the podcast, at 6, the LSU wide receiver 1. Obviously, Diami Brown, we can start there. But the other thing I noticed, too, is no Rashad Bateman.
I was going to say, these are 2 off the wall. Mm-hmm. It's just he fucking loves Diami Brown, and he hates Rashad Bateman. That's pretty much what I'm gathering from this, which isn't crazy. To me, I can't see, though, the sort of thought process. Maybe, I don't know, if you didn't go back and watch 2019 Rashad Bateman, I can see not being super high on him. after what you saw put on tape this year, just because he didn't put a lot on tape this year.
I highly doubt he only watches his 2020
I'm just saying. If you did, I can see not being high on Rashad.
That would be nuts.
Because it was a more limited role. He didn't show off the downfield ability that he was kind of known for.
He's also down 10 pounds after getting COVID.
And down 10 pounds. But like that's the interesting thing to me though, is because Diami Brown and Rashad Bateman's sort of where they win, how they win is similar in that like they're not winning with pure speed. They're winning with physicality, with, varying their routes and their releases being so good. That's kind of how Diami Brown produces down the football field. That's how Rashad Bateman produces down the football field. They're not like how Jalen Waddle produces down the football field, which is he just runs past you. So it's interesting to me that he is that high on Diami Brown. And I love Diami Brown. I think he's a great prospect. We've said, that's the guy you want on day 2. That's the guy to target. Who's the guy on day 2 that goes for, that's AJ Brown this year. Well, it's not going to be an AJ Brown, but I think Diami Brown is a very close, I think he'll be a very productive NFL receiver. So high on Diami Brown, but like the Rashad Bateman, I am curious to see his rationale, shall we say.
There you go, last name scouting again. Diami Brown, AJ Brown.
Dude. It's got a good track record.
Diami Brown
got a good track record.
I think Diami Brown could be one of those prospects too. No.
Notre Dame legend.
Could be one of those prospects too where like you've said this before, but just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean he can't do it.
Yeah.
He ran a very limited route tree at North Carolina, but the routes he did run, the vertical threat, all that stuff, you have to get on board. And I remember when we were talking to Bucky Brooks of NFL Media, he was saying some of the stuff that we were putting out on Diami Brown, his average depth of target, average depth of reception. This guy was winning down the football field, had him going back to the tape on Diami Brown. He could be a guy that goes higher maybe than people think. Top of day 2, someone go getting a outside vertical threat in Diami Brown. And
I will say, when I was going through mocking these wide receivers in a 3-round mock, that was a fucking beast. I think I texted you. I felt like Charlie Day meme, where it was just like the arrows going everywhere. Trying to put a good fit together for a 3-round mock stinks. But it was tough to fit all these wide receivers into like the top 50. There are guys who are going to fall in this one. Like last year, I think there was a top-heavy group, and then it kind of all got cooked by about pick 40. It's tough for me to see that being the case again this year. I think there will be into the mid, maybe late, some value at the wide receiver position.
Something else that I was having a conversation with after these Chris Sims rankings came out is that just like it goes back to can't be overconfident in your valuation, man. There are so many different opinions out there to where like go back to the tape and watch Diami Brown. If you were significantly low on Diami Brown, I do think that, and other people are higher on you, I think there's opportunities to go back and look at what he's done.
Okay, like that. I thought you were going to say, like it's more just, I don't know what I thought you were going to say. Just continue.
Jeez, man. I don't know. What I was getting at is that when you look at, there's no, like the no way Twitter, where like you throw out a mock draft and someone's like, no way this player goes that high, or no way this player goes that low. Front offices are very much like Chris Sims in that they have opposite opinions to what people see in the media and all those things. And there's so much groupthink and consensus bias in media because no one wants to, unlike Chris Sims, who you got to respect him just like sticking his neck out there. A lot of people just want to make sure that they're close enough. They deter some rankings here and there. They obviously have some opinions, but not a lot of media wants to come out and say, I'm trying to think of another example. Like Kadarius Toney is the best receiver in this class. You don't want to be that opposite to those things, even if maybe you have that opinion after watching the tape and those things. But all right, you ready to get into this mailbag here?
Yeah, let's do it.
We have 96 questions to catch up to, I think, March 10th, and then another 75 to catch up to March 20th. And then I think we had another 5 to 10 coming yesterday. We're going to continue to churn and burn these mailbags. We might go 5 a week. Who knows? Before I dive into it, though, producer Mike Quinn, you're on. People are looking for you. On the YouTube comments, they were looking for the Isaiah Wilson video and the John Ross video. You left people hanging.
I did. I fucked that up. You know what? I'll throw it in today. I'll throw it in right now.
Throw it in right now. People are after you, Quinn. You don't want to be.
They could turn on.
You don't want to target on your back like that.
They could also just get on Twitter.
All right. This first one's from Jeff Sperano. My question is, if the Texans were to trade Deshaun Watson to Miami and get Tua, the number 3 overall pick, the number 18 overall pick, and more picks, what would you do at 3 as Houston? Mike.
This one I dwelled on this one for a while. This one was tough. Because how we feel about the quarterback position. That upgrade, you always want to do the best you possibly can there. But I think the Texans are in a position as a roster where they suck. Like, they will suck next year. I don't care what you add in this rookie class. Rookies rarely make that massive of an impact where you're going to be bad. And so you're going to firmly, like, you can put a pin in you firmly being in the 2022 quarterback class. Even if Tua, Tua barring whatever, however good he is, you'll probably still be in that class because you just have a bad roster. You had Deshaun Watson last year, who was your upshot of Tua, and he still went 4-12. It's just, and you've gotten worse at a number of positions. So that being said, I would trade back or take Penei Sewell at number 3. Build insane draft capital. Try to get try to trade with the Saints so you get some future picks in here. And that's what I would do, because I think at this point in your life cycle, you want to be the Browns back in 2016. You want to be the team that just has this insane amount of draft capital. And then the Browns' draft track record wasn't even that good. It was actually pretty bad. It was still the same old Browns, but they just had more picks than anyone else in the NFL, and that's why they went back and now are a playoff team and now have cap flexibility and now are in a position where they could compete for a Super Bowl. That's what you could do if you're the Houston Texans here. So that's why I think I would either trade back or take Penei Sewell if I'm at 3.
I definitely don't think if you got Tua, I don't think it would make a ton of sense to take Justin Fields or Trey Lance there.
You're just in you're too early on in your life cycle. You're wasting 3 years of that quarterback's rookie deal. Honestly, if you're
and the roster is so bad. Yeah. The roster in Houston is so bad. They signed. Did you know they've signed and or traded for this offseason over 32 players? I was talking to Brad Spielberger, salary cap analyst. He said the most you've seen in an offseason is like near the 25 mark. Yeah. You only can roster 53. Like, how many of the people that were on the team last year are not coming back?
Well, they hated all of them.
That's
obviously.
Insane.
Jack Easterby is cutting.
I mean, talk about establishing a new culture.
Bad
like,
weeds.
You're going to have it's going to be like the fucking Replacements movie. Like, no one's going to know each other. Honestly, though, there is not going to be, if Deshaun Watson leaves, J.J. Watt's gone, DeAndre Hopkins is gone, Brandon Cooks is going to be like the best player on that team. Who would be the best player on the Houston Texans if Deshaun Watson leaves? It's Brandon Cooks, right?
I mean, Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah. Fair.
He ain't going anywhere.
It's very true. Man, that's freaking crazy, though, what the Texans have done. All right, this is from Manaboy96734. With the Dolphins trading back to 6 to snag Micah Parsons to play outside to replace Kyle Van Noy be a decent move? And would Cincinnati consider a trade for the 5th pick for a 1, 4, and Trent Brown for my Raiders to go all in with freaks with Pitts and Waller? So Brown's already traded. Mm-hmm. I highly doubt Trent Brown, given what he was traded for, would even come close to getting that kind of value for Cincinnati to go get Trent Brown.
Raiders are trading up to draft Kyle Pitts. I don't think they will.
No, I don't think they will. That would be nuts.
That would be absolutely insane. I do love the Parsons Kyle Van Noy fit. I think that's a role he could excel in. I do think Micah Parsons will fall come draft time for his off-field issues.
I also don't think, even without the off-field issues, I don't love the value at 6.
Yeah. I don't hate the value.
Really?
At 6. I think he's that good. But because in the Van Noy, like, he's rushing the passer a lot. And that's where you get your value with Micah Parsons. He's a dude. And
I like Micah Parsons at 18 a lot more than I like him at 6.
He could fall to 18, honestly.
All right, jumping to Ricky Williams, number 1, another Dolphins question.
And thank you for, I like Trevor Lawrence in the 3rd also.
Oh, come on. But you've seen Micah Parsons fall that far.
Yes, okay.
So eat shit. I'm not saying like Trevor Lawrence at 10 would be a lot cooler, right? No, Micah Parsons has legitimately fallen down mock drafts. All right, Ricky Williams, number 1. Another Dolphins question. What do the Dolphins need to do this offseason to take that next step to make the playoffs? The $1 million question. Might as well be everyone's mailbag question. Do you think Tua is the answer, or should they make a move for Watson? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, everyone should fucking make a move for Watson on field. Protect Tua, though. That's what you got to do. He can't have the level of protection. If you go through the draft guide that pops out next week, the color-coded depth charts are back, showing you how we project the lineups for each team. And on paper, they're still one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. You're banking on massive progression from Solomon Kinley, Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson, young guys on this roster. Eric Flowers is your most proven commodity along your offensive line at this point. That's your best. That's what you're hanging your hat on. That's a bad spot to be in as an offensive line. So get him some help. There's still some options available in free agency. That's not, obviously, it's not over by any means. Like, you can still add there, but they have to upgrade. Like, you can't roll in and just cross your fingers and say, hey, maybe this year they get better. They'll get a little better. Like, guys do from rookie year to second year, especially on the offensive line. But they got a ways to go before they are going to be an offensive line that can win you a Super Bowl or get you in that conversation or help a young quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa develop.
I want to interject the mailbag to follow up on a question we answered on yesterday's podcast about how early would you take Adrian Peterson in his prime? And I said
that's one of the
33.
questions.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll get to it down later.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
All right, Stevens. This is from Stevens. Which of the later round QBs do you think is most likely to be the next Dak or Russ? Man, if we had that answer, producer Mike Quinn would be driving a Rolls Royce into the damn podcast room. Kellen Mond, Davis Mills. Is Rolls Royce even a nice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's like a $500,000 car.
Oh, dude.
Go check in the lot. My
Chump
Rolls Royce is sitting out there.
Yeah.
Kellen Mond, Davis Mills, Newman, Trask, Ellinger, Bouchel, etc.
So I think because of the unknown factor, Davis Mills is the one I go back to as the like, he's intriguing. If there's a guy who just comes in the NFL day one and is a different player than we saw in college, it'd be him, because we saw him 5 games this last year.
Yeah.
We saw him 10 games his entire college career. Like, he could be very different from the guy you saw prior. Like, he might be a vastly different commodity just because quarterbacks, like, it's a position you need to see more of to really get a handle on. And he didn't have that great of a situation at Stanford. He's not playing with a bunch of, NFL type talent at receiver and offensive line. Maybe a couple guys get drafted from there this past season. But that's the one who have, and that was the thing about Dak. He came in day one, looked like a different player than, like, was NFL ready, was the guy. So if you tell me one guy, Davis Mills would be that guy, I would say. But I mean, there's arguments for at least Kellen Mond and Kyle Trask as well. I don't see the other guys mentioned in that being feasible.
Where do you think Davis Mills ultimately goes? Not team, but round.
I think he'll second round.
Second round?
I think he does.
Nice. Pittsburgh, maybe. What do you think Pittsburgh's landing spot? I know you had Kyle Trask going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. For the body type scouting. He's got the Roethlisberger body type.
He does got the Roethlisberger body
type. He's got
type.
an AFC North body type.
Love that. So does, never mind. Mahomes is...
I know what you're going to say.
Mahomes is Lord and Savior. This is from him. First question, who would be a better fit for the Chiefs? Elijah Molden, the Washington cornerback, or Greg Newsome, outside cornerback for Northwestern? Consider that drafting Molden would probably move Snead outside, and Newsome would allow him to continue to ball inside in the nickel and dime sets. This really is just a ploy to hear more love for Snead.
Snead's great. He has to play outside. Not has to. You want him outside. He's more valuable to you outside. I love Newsome. I think Newsome's the better player. I think Elijah Molden, he would take the sneaky need there is replacing Daniel Sorensen. Chiefs fans love Daniel Sorensen. He's not that great of a football player. They use him as a dime backer. That could be Elijah Molden. That'd be a great role for him, in my opinion. So I'll say Elijah Molden, even though Newsome's the better player and, like, maybe more value, but, like, I think you're all right at outside corner.
But would you take Elijah Molden at 31?
No, probably not.
If Elijah Molden does fall to their second round pick, I think that'd be sweet. If he doesn't, you know who I like there? Javon Holland of Oregon coming in. My guy.
He's going number 10 overall.
He's going number 10. Hey, it's Mojo's birthday, asshole.
Is it?
Yeah. You bite your tongue.
Mojo.
You bite your tongue. I have a good story after.
You know
I can't tell it on the pod. I have a good story about Mojo, though.
I thought of something later on that I don't think I said on the pod. He has to know Javon Holland personally.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Right?
Yeah.
They're both Oakland.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oaktown.
Yeah. So, like, that was like...
I don't think anyone does this in Oakland. Quinn?
I don't even know what that is.
Does anyone do this in Oakland? I don't think so.
You're the Oakland guy. I don't know.
I see a lot of this.
Okay. We're on a podcast right now, and you're making hand gestures.
I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
All right. This is from Mahomes, Lord and Savior. Second, correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe both are worth trading out of the first into the mid to early second. That is, of course, if Vera Tucker and Tevin Jenkins are both off the board.
He kind of just
answered that. Lastly, I'd like to thank Renner for his undying moderate love for Wyatt Hubert. Go Cats. Besides Deuce Vaughn, who is awesome. If you don't know who Deuce Vaughn is, he's the 5'5" running back for Kansas State. That is, like, insanely #fun to watch. He is insane what he does for Kansas State. Has anyone else?
Deuce is just a sick name.
Oh, it's always sick. Yeah. I'm going to name my son Deuce. Has anyone else at K-State caught your attention as a prospect going forward?
No, it'd be cool if his middle name was Deuce too. Deuce Vaughn. That's going to be my son's
cool
name.
at all. That sucks. All right. Has anyone else at K-State caught your attention as a prospect going forward?
Not especially. They're not really loaded. They don't have as much offensive line talent as they did a few years back. The one guy who I will say is, I'm going to butcher his name, Ikao Boyedo. He's like a 6-foot corner. He's 165 pounds, though. The dude's a stick, but he played well this last year.
Don't bring up weight on this podcast.
And you got to say Wyatt T-Rex Hubert when you say Wyatt Hubert.
That's true. Wyatt T-Rex Hubert. All right, this is from JJOOSH. I think it's Josh with a couple J's, a couple O's. If the Broncos trade for Deshaun Watson, do you think it'd be wiser to give up their entire draft this year and no future picks than spreading out high-value picks over multiple years?
I mean, I'd love to do that, sure, gladly. The Texans won't. The Texans want multiple firsts. They want a way to build this roster. If you look at any
getting all of the Broncos day 3 picks does not help you.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I look at any trade value chart. You like quite literally, you can have all of day 3, and it's not worth a top 10 pick. You know, like add all those up, it's not worth like that. There's just diminishing returns highly after you leave the first round. So that's why. You're not going to be able to do that. Sorry.
Yeah. I do think, though, that they've already signed all the day 3 guys.
Yeah, exactly.
They have signed
They've
lot
signed
of
the NFL's
guys.
version of day 3.
Dude, every single signing, it's like, wait, what? Didn't they sign Chris Conley yesterday? Like, they just continue to sign.
I think they signed guys who had been out of the league for like 2 years that they're just like, oh, whoops, I didn't realize.
There's so many guys who are like, I'm in the social chat where we're like working to like react to some of these signings. I'm like, honestly, guys, I hate to say, I have no idea who this is. I don't know who this player is. I don't know if he's a depth piece or whatever, but he's going to Houston. All right, Steve from Philly. There's a QB in this draft that has the highest single-season PFF grade for a quarterback, total QBR, and passer rating of all time. You guys have him ranked 5th. Your boy with all the quotes, traits, couldn't score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and the guy who had an over-under of 0.5 rushing yards put up 31 points. I don't hold 2 of you solely responsible. This seems to be an industry-wide oversight. My question, what's wrong with you guys?
All right, that's the next one now, too.
All right, next one is from Chris Brown's fan, 090909. Is absolutely farcical, love that, longtime listener of the pod, that everyone is caking their pants about Mac Jones in the NFL. Mac Jones can't play. Did we learn nothing from A.J. McCarron? I hate the same helmet scouting. Please explain to me what you see in him that makes him a first-rounder or pro player in general.
Bro, if you ask people around here in Cincinnati, they think A.J. McCarron is first ballot Hall of Famer.
Still got it.
Got it.
This is perfectly sums up draft.
It really does. One person's like, why aren't you higher on Mac Jones? The other person thinks he should be fucking shot dead
for being too high.
Yeah.
I'll just say to the first guy, Tom Brady has a cannon compared to Mac Jones. Like the traits, just arm strength still matters, and Brady still has a very strong arm. He can't move much, but he has a cannon. To the second guy, he's a much better player than A.J. McCarron. A.J. McCarron, just look at, purely statistically dominant comparatively, and obviously on the field, I think it's just more advanced passer coming out and what he does. So,
I think the other point to make too, and I think Bucky Brooks brought this up, is that Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, these pocket passers that have done it so well, and everyone's like, that's the old quarterback. Those guys weren't good until later in their careers. Like they weren't like, you said, like not good until after their rookie contracts. Like Mac Jones is going to come in. You're going to expect him to develop into Tom Brady or Peyton Manning over the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, okay. Not good as a stretch, but it's like they did not become those guys that until the absolute elite level quarterback play. It takes a while to develop it, even at the NFL level. And
it also takes a way longer leash than the NFL is willing to give you these days.
Yeah, and when you have the high-end physical tools, you are like your life is just easier at the next level. And like we're still high on Mac Jones. Don't get me wrong, but it's more because of the fact that he's going to be cheap for a while. Is why we're high on Mac Jones. That like you think you can provide you a baseline of quarterback play at a cheap cost. That's why I would draft him in the first round.
This is from WTF. How was that name taken? Who do you think the Panthers should take if they don't trade up?
I think they're a sneaky fit for Rashawn Slater because, well, they're making on Cam Irvin and Pat Elflein right now. So that's obviously a big change. And if they are staying put, like the defensive talent, I don't love drafting that highly, which is where I think they would go otherwise. I'm not sure they're going to be players in the wide receiver class with their wide receiving core. you're gonna really go top 10 pick on your third wide receiver. Not sure. Cal Pitts. I've said that every team in the top 10. Cal Pitts. I also do love the Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah fit in that defense. Now, is that high? Yeah, it's high, but I love that fit.
I also feel like I would hate the Panthers draft if they don't trade up. Because I just don't know how good they're so hamstrung with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. Yes. And as good as he can be, say he has a career year next year, I don't think they make it past the first round of the playoffs. Like that's your career year for Teddy B. Yeah. And as good as that offense is, and I really like what they've done on defense. They've added a lot of young talent that should develop. Jeremy Chin, Derek Brown, Yetur Gross-Matos. I still like Dante Jackson, even though he hasn't lived up some of the hype coming out of LSU. Still, you still need to add on the defensive side of the ball. And regardless of whether you add Slater or Pitts offensively, Teddy B puts a ceiling way too close to the 20th overall pick, way closer to the 20th overall pick than it is the 32nd overall pick when he's under center for your football team. So I really hope they trade up or make a play for Deshaun Watson.
I don't love them staying at 7. I'll just say that.
8, I think.
8. I hate them staying at 8, actually.
I don't love them staying at 7. I hate them staying at 8. Yeah. This is from Meegs14. Do you worry about Lawrence's surgery in regards to his rookie year?
Not really.
And didn't your dad say it's not that big of a deal?
Yeah.
I trust your dad on a lot of things. Too. Your dad has good taste in women, too.
Okay, I agree. But, Jesus, why did I say that?
You said I agree.
That's my mom.
Well, what? No, he's not going to call his mom ugly on the podcast.
That's true. Quinn, what's your take?
I've never seen your mom.
Exactly.
Not in the light.
We're gonna have to have on either him or Pro Football Doc to discuss these injuries.
I can't wait.
And long-term ramifications.
I'm excited. Other one, he had another question. Meeks14. Other one who in this wide receiver class is this year's Jalen Reagor, who's a gross first-round reach, and what the hell is this question?
Who is a gross first-round reach?
Who in this class is this year's Jalen Reagor?
Putting the wrong use of whose.
Okay. Who in this class is this year's Jalen Reagor? Who's a gross first-round reach, and who's the Terry McLaurin who can be a superstar in round 3?
So he means who is the contraction instead of...
Yeah, that's brutal to see.
Reagor, 1, not a gross first-round reach by the PFF draft board. Jury's still out. Maybe he's not as good as Justin Jefferson, but that doesn't make him a reach. Tutu Atwell would be a massive reach, though, if someone drafted him in the first round. I don't know if he's going to. The guys who are now being consistently mocked in the first round, I don't hate any of them going there. Like Kadarius Toney's the one where I'm like, I'm not sure you're getting the guy you're being sold. You're getting like I could see a path to him not living up to the hype in the NFL. But even him, it's like he does some very cool things with the football in his hand. So I can't hate it too much. Superstar in round 3, I'm gonna say Josh Palmer, if anyone does.
Ooh.
Because going back kind of through his profile, similar things to Terry McLaurin. They're similar. One, he ran vertical tree. Not super diverse. He was the vertical guy in that Tennessee offense, but he didn't have a quarterback that could hit him. He didn't get featured. So his numbers stink. But you flip on the tape and he's there cooking Patrick Surtain sometimes. Like he's getting open. You're getting open against the Georgia duo who are running 4.3s, 4.2s. Like he has some juice to him and some explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. I thought he looked really good at the Senior Bowl. One of the top performers there by far. One of the highest graded guys there. He's probably not going to go day 1, day 2 because he had 500 receiving yards last year.
Yeah,
He'll go, I think, 3rd round, and he's not as loose as Terry McLaurin as a route runner. I thought McLaurin was like a kind of all around guy, but he has the size. He's 6'2", the explosiveness, can get off the line of scrimmage. I think he could be productive.
Do you like Josh Palmer more or less than Bryan Edwards last year?
More.
Do you like Josh Palmer more or less than Juwan Jennings?
Ooh.
You love Juwan Jennings.
I do love Juwan
Until we found out
But Juwan Jennings was a slot, and then the off-field stuff, I was like, okay, I'm out. But after the off-field stuff, definitely Josh Palmer.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Evans139. What do you think of J.C. Horn? I've heard he's a good physical press corner, but has speed and penalty concerns. Would love to hear your guys' take.
Yeah, you've heard correctly. It's the penalty concerns, but also like the play style concerns, where he is going to have to overhaul the way he plays cornerback to
absolutely
not be called for penalties every single play in the NFL. And I'd rather try to reel a guy in than make a guy more physical. Like I'd rather have that than I feed to Melifonwu, who's up at the line of scrimmage against a 5'10" guy that weighs 185 pounds and won't try to get his hands on him when he fought to. Looks like his dad. He fought to. So I'd rather try to coach that out of a guy and like reel him in a little bit. But that's like still a pretty legit concern because you just like haven't seen him otherwise without it. So.
Yeah. I was talking to someone recently about cornerback drafting. And I think I think defensive backs overall, people will go into a draft or fans will go into a draft saying, we need help at cornerback. Let's take the best cornerback available at 10 or 15 or wherever. It's like scheme is so important for drafting at the cornerback position. Like you're not going to take JC Horn if you're not running like a man-heavy scheme and all that type of stuff. And Ifeatu Melifonwu, I do think Fitz can run multiple things. He's like athletic enough to do a lot of different things, but you probably want him playing a little bit more off zone in those stuff because you think he could get bullied at the line of scrimmage. Going against like Jamar Chase types, I mean, Ifeatu Melifonwu is going to be backing down a little bit. All right, let's get to Steel City 07. Who's the lowest rated player that actually turned out to be the great player Pro Bowler? This is the answer every time.
Deion Jones.
Yeah.
Linebacker, 250 on the draft board. Woo. I mean, and he didn't grade out well either. Like he just flat out graded out poorly in college, but has played well in the NFL. Obviously, we get shit on a lot for Josh Allen, but he was still only 35th on our draft board. He wasn't that low on our board that year. Obviously, everyone was low on Dak Prescott, so Dak Prescott too. But
fair enough.
You know, like a lot. If day 3 guys, not a lot of guys are saying first round grades on day 3 guys that ended up turning out well. Not a lot of guys had first rounders on A. Jackson. Or
Rodgers mustache. Why not my mustache? If the Packers make an aggressive move like trading a future first to move up, who would you think would be realistically worth it, assuming the pick is anywhere between like 10 and 17? Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Did you see that Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers are like close to hitting on a contract extension?
Nice. No.
Why did they draft Jordan Love? I'm confused.
Don't ask me, dude.
I'm confused.
You don't
I tweeted out something about, Chris Carson's now going to start over Rashad Penny for his entire rookie contract. And so multiple Seahawks fans tweeted it was the motivation factor. You drafted Penny to motivate Chris Carson to be a better player. And like that's the same argument people are making with Jordan Love for Aaron Rodgers. It's like if we were working with that trivial of minds in the NFL, these are adult men. I can't get on board with that. I can't get on board with that take. I can't get on board with, man, I'm not playing that well, but if they draft somebody in the first, dude, I might really turn it on. No, that's
great
not
though,
a thing.
because
that's
everyone uses like the other end of the spectrum when you're talking about drafting a first rounder for Sam Darnold. No, you don't want to ruin his confidence, or you don't want to ruin Tua's confidence with another first rounder in there. You don't want to ruin his confidence. But
pisses me off.
Why did they do it? They thought, why did they trade a starting safety for Deshaun Kaiser? Like they've been low-key trying to get that developmental guy for a minute here, and they want the next Aaron Rodgers. That's what they want. They want to do that again, and I don't blame them for wanting that. It's a pipe dream though.
Yeah.
Like they misread how close they were to winning a Super Bowl, in my opinion. Now, if they're trading up here in this draft, I think Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. Yeah. And I think they'll fall to at least the low teens. That's 2 guys I think could come in and do something different for your team and be worthwhile. That leap you're going to have to take up there. It's going to cost a lot, obviously. But if not them, maybe like Patrick Surtain, but that's about it for that team.
All righty. This is from 2-for-1 Drafts fan. This guy made an Apple account for us. Love to see that. Who graded better between Colt McCoy and Sam? Holy shit, he made an account for this question. Who graded better between Colt McCoy and Sam Ehlinger? And is it fair to say Ehlinger's ceiling is the same as McCoy's, a career backup?
Yeah, that's fair to say. So we didn't grade Colt McCoy. That's before our time. We started in 2014. That was the Winston Mariota season. I think honestly though, McCoy is probably still a higher ceiling. Ehlinger has not nearly as accurate as McCoy. Is going to struggle with pocket presence in the NFL, and I don't see him. He may not even be like a career backup. He just might be out of the league in a couple of years.
Do you think he could take on a Taysom Hill type of role? Or like a Trace McSorley type of thing?
He is athletic. I don't think he's that athletic though. I don't know.
Is your ceiling in the NFL a career backup?
I would have been if my high school would have had a football program, we could have talked about it. I was Jared Aberdarius before Jared Aberdarius.
Nice. What a time to be alive is this guy's name. I'm a diehard Patriots fan. What do you think about pass rush? Or perhaps just trade down to the end of the first. So I think this was before free agency. They obviously added Matthew Judon, re-signed Dietrich Wise. I do think that doesn't solve their pass rush issues. I think they can get better. I like Chase Winovich. I like Josh Uche. Do you think they address pass rush in the first, or how do you think they go?
Yeah, I doubt they do. They've never relied on their pass rush. They've never, even when they had Chandler Jones, they really didn't like deploy him as a pass rusher. They don't really. That is not how they win defensively. I think Bill Belichick knows that.
Win with stunts and games and those things.
Yeah, and then blitzes.
Yeah,
and so they're fine. Like with what they got there, I think they're A-okay. They're going to roll in and be very happy with what they have along the defensive line. Maybe they could go interior, maybe address there would be the only place I could see. It's a weak class though, so not 100% on that. Maybe if they did, maybe just like a fat boy in the middle there for them.
Shelvin,
the third,
Bobby
Shelvin,
Brown,
NC State guy.
Oh, Lee McNeil.
There we go. One of those, but I think they'll go. I think they could go secondary. Honestly,
I think they should go QB. Man, I've said it
or
multiple times.
QB.
I think go up and go get Lance.
If they don't go up and get a quarterback, I think go secondary.
Go up and get Lance. All right, this is from Rich Cotty, Eagles fan. Who are some good mid-round 2 to 4 target/system fits for the Eagles on defense, specifically in the back seven, off-ball linebacker, cornerback, safety?
So Jonathan Gannon, I think we've said this before. He's learned from both, or been under both Matt Eberflus in Indianapolis, who is Rod Marinelli tree, and Mike Zimmer in Minnesota, who's Mike Zimmer tree. But you would think probably is going to bring over Eberflus's defense there, which was like they have a type, athletic guys, let them make plays, not necessarily instincts, the I part of the STI. You can get by off without them. So linebacker Jamin Davis, we've talked about. That's kind of what he did in college. Was they were spot dropping and letting them just play fast. That's would be perfect there. Cornerback Tyson Campbell, Georgia, ridiculously good athlete. Doesn't have the best feel for the position quite yet. Not quite a developed prospect. And then safety Tyree Gillespie from Missouri, very good athlete, big, good tackler. They don't really ask their safeties to be playmakers per se, more solid, and that's what Tyree Gillespie is. There you have it, those three.
From Stevie398. Who do you think the Raiders draft with a second-round grade in the first round this year?
Dude, I'm telling you, I think this one's Nick Bolton. Like Nick Bolton ticks a lot of the boxes that could be in play for the Raiders here. They don't care about arm length. Tiny arms. T-Rex Bolton.
What do you think about Jalen Mayfield?
I could see Jalen Mayfield.
Because I think they might.
Glass eater.
I think they might lock into tackle.
Yeah. Kind of like when they Colton Millard, which ended up being the best pick the past 4 years.
I think they could lock into tackle and maybe not take the obvious who everyone would take, like maybe say Tevin Jenkins at 17 or something, or Darisaw at 17, and they end up taking like Jalen Mayfield or Elijah Vera Tucker, who like I don't think would be a significant reach at that spot, but still like not taking an offensive tackle. I still think they should trade down. I think this offensive line class and where they're picking, if they want to address the offensive line, they should trade down and grab multiple.
You think that
they just gave
will they? They
just gave Andre James $8 million on a base level contract. Do you see that?
Yeah.
The center that they're obviously really big fans of. I mean, we'll see. He has not played a lot in the NFL, but must be damn good in practice. All right, this is from JCMGLM142. Huge Patriots fan, and have been watching film on some of the mid to late round receivers, and 3 of them caught my attention. Could you please tell me what you guys think of Diami Brown, Anthony Schwartz, and Watt Fillier?
Discuss Brown off the rip. He's a dude. Schwartz looks like a track star that just got dropped on a football field. No semblance of ball skills, route running ability. He is just raw as can be, but he runs a 4.3 and he can fucking scoot, and it shows on tape. And you get the ball in his hand in an end around, he might be taken to the house and you might not touch him, but that has limited value in the NFL. It's still like football. How many guys like that have really developed into NFL receivers? I'll just ask that question.
It's more of a skill position that people let on. I mean, the speed is taken over, and a lot of teams have overdrafted for speed. But and you don't got to tell Mike Quinn or John Rostad.
Yeah.
I mean, like Teams have overdrafted for speed for a very long time. It's a more skilled technical position than people give credit for. And I think that's why when you look at Nate Tice, who is doing the wide receiver rankings for Bleacher Report, something that he commented on or makes a big effort for is that who are the actually good receivers? Like, throw athleticism, throw traits out the window. Who are the actually good receivers? And let's start there. And that's why Rashad Bateman ranks as high as he does for him. I really do think that it needs to be brought up more that, like, this is a technique-driven position more than it is just like he can fly.
And before everyone says, "Oh, Tyreek Hill, what did he do in college?" He was a running back in college. Like he was not a polished wide receiver because he never played wide receiver.
Yeah.
The dude played running back, and he was about as electric with the ball in his hands as you could possibly be, like in terms of just agility, speed. Schwartz is not agile, is not nearly as strong. Like Tyreek Hill is a rock at his size. So not everyone's Tyreek Hill. Just that's what I'm trying to say. And then Whop Philyor, I was so underwhelmed by his tape, man. Like because he's as an athlete, I think he's like has speed. He's a tough dude. Like he takes hits over the middle of the field, but he is undersized. He is a slot only. And then as a slot route runner, like I think we've said this before, you better be a damn good route runner to consistently get open from the slot. You got to be on point every single time. And he was just kind of a lackadaisical route runner, not really, just very average in that regard. And that's not average route runner from the slot. You're just not going to get, targets. Like you're not going to see the field in the NFL.
I did Whop Phillyor's background for the draft guide recently. His name is Whop, or his nickname is Whop. I don't know his first name. I think it's Mr. something. I think his name is actually Mr. But his name is Whop.
That sounds right.
As a kid, his parents said he liked Whoppers.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I didn't think it was going to be that simple, but I love that. That's freaking awesome. All right. This is from Bat Gem. Bat Gem ever.
He was close.
It's an average regular season football Sunday. Oh, he's putting us in a scene. Yeah. You can only follow 4 Twitter accounts. You each follow the same for the whole day. Which 4 accounts do you choose?
I don't really go on Twitter during Sundays. I don't like it. It's a cesspool. People just tweet out.
That's because you like to drink on Sundays.
Okay. That too. And I don't like to tweet when I drink. It gets bad. But maybe NFL, maybe PFF Mike, maybe PFT commenter, and then Sean Payton for the occasional troll tweet he'll have after a game.
I think those are solid. I mean, I don't know if Sean Payton's in my top 4.
PFF Mike's I can't, if I'm not following anyone else and if I'm going to miss a Sean Payton, like trolling, retweeting Roddy White, I'm going to hate myself. So
yeah,
there's not anyone else where if they tweeted something, I'd probably hate myself for not getting to.
I think I'd follow PFF Mike, NFL, maybe the check down. So I don't know what I'm doing on this average regular season Sunday. Am I watching the games? Am I watching Red Zone? Am I out tailgating? It's hard to say because I'm going to need the highlights.
Yeah, tailgating.
Yeah, so you need the highlights. You need the NFL. You need to check down that stuff. Cool. All right, this is from Uncle.Blaze, my dad. Do you see Green Bay grabbing a corner like J.C. Horn, Asante Samuel Jr. to help Jair and our secondary? That's his question.
I like how he wrote J.C. Horn like it's.
He finished it with a period too. That's why my reading of that was trash.
Because I said I think I've come around. Did I say this? Maybe I didn't.
No.
I think I've come around into not being a wide receiver. I've mentally accepted they're going to roll in with fucking Allen Lazard and MVS again, and I'm just going to have my heart broken at the end of April. But I've already broken it. It's already gone. I've gotten over the mental anguish of that being the case. So what are the positions then does Green Bay covet then? Because they go line of scrimmage a lot, D-line, edge. I think they'll get roasted if they go edge again with 3 edge rushers already in tow. Defensive tackle, the value's not going to be there. So I think that leaves offensive tackle or cornerback because they really don't draft interior offensive linemen. They draft tackles and then have them play interior offensive line if they want there. So I think offensive tackle or cornerback is where they ultimately go. So I could see corner. Like I said, I don't think J.C. Horn's the great scheme fit. I think Asante Samuel Jr. is, but they have the height. They've been kind of a height cutoff team or a length cutoff team. Asante Samuel, maybe not in the first round.
I think he had 30 1/4 inch arms?
Yeah.
You hate to see length cutoffs. In 2021,
I know.
It's tough.
Size queens.
Rondale Moore is running his pro day right now, so I'm going to interrupt real quick. 42.5-inch vert for Rondale Moore so far. I'll let you know if I see a 40 come across my timeline. This is from Will Dog.
I want to see a dunk video. I want to see what he can throw down.
He could definitely throw down.
Could be Jim Leonard-esque.
That's true. Will Dog 37. which quarterback could surprise next year and have a Burrow/Wilson like rapid rise up draft boards? Oh, I like this question.
Do you? I hate this question because
Really?
I got it 1,000 times before this past year. Never once said Zach Wilson. My bad. It's tough to do.
What about Keaton Slovis?
Yeah, the number 1 pick rate, Keaton Slovis. I'll say Matt Corral, the
Ole Miss
QB. He's like
he graded kind of well last year.
Yeah, he graded well. Kind of like limited his first year as starter. Obviously playing in the SEC.
Playing with Lane Kiffin too. I love Lane Kiffin. You and this is a Raiders fan. I was at the fucking games when Lane Kiffin was the head coach of the Raiders, where Lane Kiffin had a very college approach to motivation and stuff, where before games he'd have the entire team crowd around him, all 53 players or whoever 46 I think are active on game day, all around him, and he'd have a speech, and then they'd go and they'd break and then all that stuff. And I remember Lane Kiffin was trying to convince Al Davis to take Calvin Johnson over Jamarcus Russell. I thought Lane Kiffin did a really good job before going to Oakland Raiders with Amari Cooper and all that. I mean, dude, I really do feel like Lane Kiffin got shat on for all the wrong reasons.
I'm a Kiffin fan.
I'm a big Kiffin fan. He also has a very good Twitter. He might be in my top 4 on college football Saturdays.
Yeah.
He's not going to tweet on Saturdays. Fuck me. If you knew ahead of the time that a running back prospect would be as dominant as AD in his prime, how high would you draft him? Can I start?
Yes.
So when I said this originally, I think a lot of people, I said I'd take him at 33. So that way I can get the 5th-year option for more valuable positions, etc. However, in this hypothetical scenario where it's fairy tale unicorn shit, let's pretend that you can get any position in its prime. Your prime outside corner, your prime offensive tackle, all those things. I think I'm taking every other position, even slot corner in these things, before I'm taking a running back in his prime. I'd rather have 2 outside corners. I'd rather have a slot corner, 2 safeties. I think I would take a lot of those other positions before I take Adrian Peterson in his prime. If I'm getting prime at those positions.
I agree. And I said, so if you knew you were going to get Adrian Peterson's career, that's worth a first-round pick.
Yeah.
You don't know you're getting his career, though, going into the draft is the other kind of part of that. Like that's
what make this, like if you said in this 2021 draft class, Adrian Peterson, he's going to be fucking Adrian Peterson, you probably draft him like top 5. Maybe just after Trevor Lawrence, because you don't know what else these guys are going to do.
It's like the unknown is still a big thing, but you still don't know for running backs. I will say, though, the vaunted 2012 season that he carried them to the playoffs, they were 14th in points per game that year. They were 13th in points per drive. The 2020 Vikings had a better EPA per run than the 2012 Vikings.
To tweet that. That's kind of a fire tweet.
You're still so dependent on a lot of different other factors, and it still only gets you to 13th points per game. Like, you still have to have that passing game. Like, you still have to have the quarterback. You still have to have the wide receivers. And once you have that, it behooves you not to run the ball because that's the floor. That's all it gives you at that point. So
I do think it's an interesting question. Like when you're if you can draft in a pool of prime players, where do you take a running back like Adrian Peterson or LaDainian Thompson or whatever? And I might have my swing tackle. I might take a swing tackle, a depth tackle before I take that running back because that's what matters. Those positions matter more. Yeah.
It still blows my mind that people will listen to us shit on running backs and get upset. It's like you know where you came at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
If you don't like it.
How much of that do you think it is because the running back position is so fun to watch, though? I think that's a big part of it. Like people love
fantasy is a big part.
Fantasy is a big part of it, and people love watching running backs. It's a very simple position to understand. It's like, oh my God, I know that guy's good. Absolutely. Simple. There's simple stats for it. All that stuff. You just rip a salt mid-and. You're just ripping smelling salts over there. All right. This is from C money sign Myth. So I think it's C Smith with the money sign for the S. I'm curious who you guys think will be this year's L'Jarius Sneed or steal of this year's draft.
The next one's about L'Jarius Sneed to us.
Okay. So this is from K Nutty 18. Who is this year's L'Jarius Sneed? Basically, who is the day 3 prospect who, on the right team / system, could have a significant role and impact?
2 guys who have similar profiles that I will put a pin and say them if I had to guess. Tay Gowan, we talked about before, long, fast, but then didn't play in 2020. And that was kind of like L'Jarius Sneed. We hadn't seen him play in a year at the position that he's going to play in the NFL. Similar with Trill Williams. He played slot cornerback, even though he's 6'1" with long arms and runs a 4.3. Like, that's not a skill set of a slot cornerback. That's like L'Jarius Sneed kind of playing slot corner this year. We keep saying he's going to be better at outside cornerback. He was better at outside cornerback at the beginning of the year when he played there for the Chiefs. So those 2 guys, not going to be day 1, day 2 picks. Day 3, that's the sort of skill set you're going to want at that point in day 3, is the guy who has all the tools, who has played well, but there are things about their profile that will scare you from drafting him day 1, day 2.
If you haven't listened to the Tay Gowan episode on 2-4 Drafts, it's incredible. He opens up about why he opted out and he had COVID, gave it to his mom, had a premature daughter, all in like the same time before that season. He has an insane backstory. He's been through a lot of shit. And he's obviously super successful in 2019. Didn't have that opportunity in 2020 to really put it on. So Tay Gowan, I like him as a sleeper. Other thing here, Rondale Moore's pro day numbers keep strolling in. He measured, I don't know if this is that surprising to you, but 5'7".
Oh, that's tiny.
That is tiny.
Yeah.
That's like Clyde Edwards-Helaire size.
That's not going in the first round. Although Clyde Edwards-Helaire went in the first round. So
Clyde Edwards-Helaire was like 5'8".
Yeah. Man, I thought he was going to be 5'8".
I thought he was going to be like 5'9".
5'9". 5'7" is undersized.
That is small. All right, this is from Cam Doug 06. What do you think will be a good fit for Shaun Wade? Is he a safety or a slot? And also thoughts on Baron Browning and Trey Sermon regarding later landing spots.
Yeah, I think Shaun Wade's a safety. I just don't think he's quite the agile slot athlete that you usually see. I think his physicality, his ability to tackle, be better almost more in the middle of the field. Like, I think he's a safety. I think that's his best. Now, obviously, he never played there, but I think that's his best role in the NFL. Baron Browning, ridiculously good athlete, like size, speed, kind of has it all. That's why he was a 5-star coming out, just does not have the feel for the linebacker position. I thought he was at his best when he was actually rushing the passer off the edge. I think that might be where he ends up getting coveted for, is that ability in a defense. And then Trey Sermon, we talked about kind of on the Monday pod about the running back position. A lot of things to like about his game. Just not a super explosive athlete, not a great athlete for the position. You're not chasing super high end with him, but I think he's a competent NFL starting running back from day 1.
All right, this is from Tanner J. Pittman. Do you think it's possible for my Dolphins to get Sewell at the 3rd pick, Zaven Collins at 18, and then Bateman in the 2nd? If possible, is that the ideal draft, assuming Tua is the guy? How would those players fit in the scheme Flores and co want to run? I'd swap Collins and Bateman to make sure I got Bateman. I don't know.
I don't think you're getting Bateman in the 2nd at where they pick. I could see him falling out of the 1st, but think about the guys who went early day 2 last year, like Michael Pittman. Bateman's a better prospect than Michael Pittman. Younger, more productive, similar sort of skill set. It would floor me to see him fall all the way to the middle of round 2. Zaven Collins is a perfect fit for that defense. And we've talked about the guys who are, have perfect fits. So the guys with unique skill sets. And I was going through his linebacker class. I think this linebacker class is going to be drafted higher than people think because Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is a unique skill set. That doesn't last long in the NFL draft. When a guy has that, like the Kyle Pitts is a unique skill set. I don't think that's going to last long. Like, you can't find those guys other years.
Yeah.
So when you have it, if you want that, you got to go get it. So I do think that Collins will go earlier than expected. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah will go earlier than expected in this year's draft.
All right, from Bryce Duke, my question for the mailbag. As a Lions fan, do you think there is a world where the Lions take Kyle Pitts with the 7th pick?
Like when Jelani Tavai had that unique skill set and went 40th overall. Very similar. This is the Lions question. Sorry. But is there a world? There's not this world. I'd like to live in that world, but it's not going to be this. They are the reason why you don't draft tight end in the first round.
Brian
Pettigrew, Ebron, Hawkinson, zero, like just nil impact. Those two
Hawkinson
guys.
went to the Pro Bowl.
Okay.
Their head coach is also a tight end.
Head coach is tight end, which he might not like Pitts because he doesn't block well enough.
That's true.
He might draft Freiermuth.
No, he might take Tremble at fucking 7.
But I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I don't think. I doubt they do that. What is a good fit for them at 7? We haven't talked a ton about that 7th pick because they're obviously tanking. And
Jamar Chase is a good fit for them. 7. Wide receiver.
They do need a wide receiver. Their wide receiving room right now is bad. Yes. Real bad. I think Quintus Cephas is supposed to start. Tyrell Williams, who obviously didn't play last year. That is going to be an interesting wide receiver. Geronimo Allison, I think, might start for them. It's not a good look for them. TJ Hawkinson might have, he might have 100 targets for 600 yards.
Yeah.
Danny.216. Which quarterback draft class in the last 5 years will be more successful in the NFL? Will it be the 2018 class with Mayfield, Darnold, Allen, and Jackson, and Rosen? He didn't mention Rosen, but Rosen's there. Will it be the 2021 quarterback class with Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, and Lance?
Rosen's still on roster. That's a success.
Is he really? Oh, he's in San Francisco.
Yeah. It's going to be the 2021 quarterback class. Come back in 5 years. Set a reminder.
Can't wait.
And then we'll leave another 5-star review, and we'll answer the question then. This class is rare. It is insanely physically talented, not only, but also they've performed very well on the foot. Like, it's got that nice little crossover that we love to see at the quarterback position. That's why we're all in on this quarterback class.
There is video of a 5'7" Rondale Moore doing a 42.5-inch vertical, and it looks fake.
Does he jump over? It's almost like himself.
Yeah,
get up to.
That is insane. He looks like he is flying.
Yeah.
All right. Go look that up.Quinn's not going to put it in the video. All right. In most mock drafts, I'm seeing the Browns. Okay. I'm seeing the Browns are being mocked someone on the defensive side of the ball. Who's the best fit for the Browns at edge and linebacker, in your opinion? This is assuming the top safety, Moehrig, and top 3 corners, Farley, Surtain, and Horn, have been selected. I'm of the opinion they should take edge. I think they should pair someone up with Myles Garrett, attack positional value. There are like 5-6 edge guys that could go in the first round. And I think at that spot, I'd rather have one of the edge guys than JOK.
I'd like Azeez Ojulari there.
That's
talk
nice.
About pairing the bull rusher with the edge bender.
I like that.
Be fun. And then Azeez going against right tackles. You got Myles Garrett. He can crush left tackles all day. Now they moved him around a bit more last year than they had earlier in his career. But I think that fit of if you just get Azeez going around your slow ass right tackles all day long could be fun. So that one, I also say Jason Oweh. I like the fit there. Just 2 freak athletes. Just kind of like what Washington is building, where it's just like those guys are just monsters. Like those guys just can do whatever. So that too.
I think the Washington football team defensive line needs a nickname in 2021.
They are scary, man.
Monstars or something? Capital? The nation's capital? Workshop it.
Okay, there's something about the nation's capital. I like that. The line of defense, the first line, what's the
Secretary of Defense?
What's the president's name in the
Secret Service?
In the
Commander
hierarchy of
in
the Army?
Chief.
Yeah, something to do with that.
Okay, we'll keep thinking about it.
Yeah, well, that was not great.
Yeah. All right. This is from JSP_20. With winning Super Bowls being nearly impossible without a Hall of Fame quarterback or a quarterback on a cheap contract, should teams draft a quarterback in the top 5 and at the end of his rookie deal, trade him to a QB-needy team with a top 5 pick for the top 5 pick and hopefully some more draft capital, and then draft one of the top QB options? This guy's going into the weeds. I love it. The tinfoil hat is on. With constant quarterback costs being low, the talent around him should be very good, inflating/making him look better and increasing trade value while also accumulating a lot of extra draft picks. An example of this could be for the Browns and Baker Mayfield, trading him to the Jets for their top 2 pick and potentially a 2nd or 3rd rounder, and then using that 2nd overall pick to draft Wilson or Fields.
Oof.
It's a long question. It's pretty much never pay a quarterback.
Yeah.
Always have one on a rookie contract, so your team's always good.
And if they look good, flip them immediately to try to get the more picks to then keep cheap and get another guy who you can make look good. Interesting strategy. One, quarterbacks don't come out every year, though. Like, there are classes that stink. And you're not always, unless you draft number 1, like, there's not always, like, multiple options that are going to be good.
Very true.
The Kyler Murray year. Got Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins. That's your 2-3. Drew Lock. I'm not sure how much lipstick you can put on those pigs to make them look good.
I'll try.
2013, what was it? Geno, EJ, butt cheeks. Like, there are years it doesn't hit always. So that's kind of, you got to pick and choose your spots. I thought the Falcons were in a great spot to do that, though, this year. This exact sort of thing where you can get someone will be desperate enough. The Bears would have thrown you some capital for Matt Ryan right now. They probably would have thrown you like 3 ones with where that roster.
They're taking on so much dead cap.
Yeah, I know, but like then you're cheap like that. Then after that, you are in a cheap spot with a number 4 overall pick with whichever quarterback you draft, Trey Lance. I don't know who it is. To then 3 years from now have a complete roster reset. Then you're the Patriots going ham in free agency because you have you have all young players. You have no cap commitments that you're all of a sudden like balling up storm. But now you're kind of just like in this no man's land where you have to really hit on these picks that you're going to get in this draft, or else you're still going to be a team that's picking towards the top of the first round. So I do think if you are in dire straits in the rest of your roster, it's not a bad scenario.
All right, moving off of the that whole spiel there. Big kahuna. A pick I don't think enough people are talking about is Kadarius Toney to the 49ers. That would be such an explosive addition to their offense, and the reach would be similar to Brandon Ayuk last year. Do you think they'd go for him, or would they feel like they need to trade down? Kadarius Toney at 12, I don't love.
That's their type of wide receiver. Like I can see them liking Kadarius Toney. I don't think they would use a first rounder on a wide receiver with 2 other wide receivers. They still love their fullback tight end stuff. Would that be 21 personnel? Excuse me. Whew. NFL purists, don't get at me. They still love to do that. And so as soon as you have a guy who won't be able to see the field more than 50% of your snaps, you're not really getting your value for the 12th overall pick. That's for sure. So I don't think they would do it that. If maybe he's sitting there in the second round, they're like, oh shit, we love this guy. Because again, he does fit what they like. You can use him even as like a running back. He did some of that at Florida as well. I think they could pull the trigger then, but it wouldn't be at 12.
What about Rondale Moore to them in the second? That would be sick. Use him as a running back. I mean, honestly, why not?
Yes.
5'7"? Fuck.
Okay, now you got me thinking now.
You want to hang out after this? All right, let's go.
Rondale, yeah.
APZ115. It would be great to get your guys' take when comparing this year's draft class to last year's and next year. So, for example, how would your positional tiers look if the 2020 class and 2022 class? I don't know if he means that.
He was saying this year's and next year's.
Oh, okay. We're eligible to be drafted this April, including knowing how the rookies performed this year. Interesting. It could bring up some really interesting discussion. I agree. How far did Tua slide? Are Herbert and Lawrence in their tier by themselves? Is Kyle Pitts even more of a standout due to the lack of elite tier tight ends coming out last year? He just keeps going on and on. Give me some takes from this.
Yeah, so I think Tua goes behind all. So 2022, I don't know anything. I'm sorry. Like I don't know anything besides really the top guys. You don't get to watch. There's only so much time in the day. And most people don't give a shit about 2022 right now. I will start after the draft. Then I'll have a good 2022 mock going after the draft, after I scroll through some of the big dogs. But, so 2020 versus this class. Tua goes behind the top group in this class. So the top group being the big 4 in our eyes of Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. Yeah, maybe he's probably like in the... It's Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. He's probably like in the tier about with Trey Lance there. That's how far Tua would slide. Kyle Pitts, yeah, he's even more of a standout. That's why we're saying there's not a Kyle Pitts in every class. There might not be one for a while. He's different, special dude. So, no, there's not a Kyle Pitts in every class. Another 2022 class who are like Trevor Lawrence, Jamar Chase were this year, who are early. So my blue chip guys that I've seen in 2022. Kayvon Thibodeau, Morgan, pooped on Elijah Vera Tucker. Just pushed his shit in.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Kyle Hamilton, the Notre Dame safety, electric. He is Isaiah Simmons, but actually a safety. Derek Stingley Jr., obviously LSU cornerback, highest graded cornerback in the country, is true freshman. Ran a 4.3 coming out of high school. 6'2". It's a lot to like. Tyler Linderbaum, the Iowa center. I love Tyler Linderbaum's tape. He's going to be a dude. Now he's a center. Hard to convince me. There's a lot of blue chip centers draft highly. He might be able to convince me. Freak athlete. Love that guy. And then Garrett Wilson, the Ohio State wide receiver 1 heading into 2021 season. He's better than your boy.
Olave. But they're 1 and 2 right now, right?
But they are 1 and 2, yeah.
Well, Wilson and Olave are both pretty freaking sick. It's being reported now that Rondale Moore's height was not 5'07.7. It was 5'07.0. It is 5'7" flat. Jim Nagy tweeting out that teams will likely see him more as a sub-downs running back. And I mean, I'm not saying that's a little bit aggressive in terms of I still think I want to see him play wide receiver first. But like if it doesn't work early, like trying to, I don't know.
That we're live reporting a pro day right now.
I mean, this is kind of significant. We're big Rondale Moore fans. We're higher on Rondale Moore than a lot of people.
That is very small. What were his arms?
I haven't seen yet. I'll let you know. This is from CC Hit 13. As a Louisville fan, Quinn, big Louisville fan as well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Senior Bowl OPOG, Des Fitzpatrick. Oh, Offensive Player of the Game? Senior Bowl Offensive Player of the Game, Des Fitzpatrick. I will say that Trey Brown, who I talked to recently in his interview we played on a future podcast, was a big fan of Des Fitzpatrick's game. He said he was a tough get in the one-on-ones, as I haven't heard you mention him yet. From a fan perspective, he seemed to have great rapport with Lamar as a freshman, but he largely disappeared until his senior year. How much do you put that on him versus the questionable quarterback play?
He's not that. He's kind of just a guy, man. I did not come away impressed. I know he got the OPOG, but during the week of practices, the one-on-ones was far more telling in my eyes. Second lowest graded wide receiver in the one-on-ones. Ben Skoranek had a higher grade in the one-on-ones than him. That's just,
that guy was bad.
He's like, if I'm not high on a Notre Dame guy, that should tell you all you need to know about that Notre Dame guy. So he's just not super sudden as a wide receiver. He's big. He's got some size, but I don't think he's going to be a separator at the next level. If you're not a separator, not going to be high on you.
His brother's good. His brother's going to be good. He's like a 4-star, 5-star.
There you go. Just hold out for his brother then.
All right. Moving on here. Sorry, I had to.
I was gonna say, you sending fucking emails over there?
I'm sending
emails.
You
cranking out your keyboard as if it's.
This is from Mick Saquon.
We're not doing a podcast. You keep having things as if we're not on a podcast right now. You're making hand gestures. You're sending out emails.
There's nothing wrong with my hand gestures, Mike.
I don't know where your head's at.
All right, this is from Mick Saquon. As a Ravens fan, I've been hearing a lot of buzz about Des Fitzpatrick. Oh, it's the same guy. I think pairing Lamar up with one of his former collegiate wide receivers would be mad hype. Can you all provide the best possible sequence of draft moves that lead the Ravens securing Des Fitzpatrick? Wow. And also thoughts on Javian Hawkins. I really like Javian Hawkins. I like Javian Hawkins more than I like Des Fitzpatrick. I know Ballard doesn't traditionally do things that PFF would recommend, but I always appreciate the consistently high draft grades at the end of the season. All that being said, who would you recommend for the Colts? I think any Darisaw, Pay, Rousseau, Bateman, Horn would be excellent for the Colts, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. Keep up the great work, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think they are. Now, I still believe they address somewhere in free agency. There's tackles available and there are edge rushers available. They're going to sign somebody. They have to, right? I think at some point they have so much cap space, they're going to be players at some point. So kind of whichever one they don't address. But I do think with what they like, length on defense, Gregory Rousseau, the longest defensive end in the draft, I think. The dude has a ridiculous build. Or they like offensive tackle, they are not as much, or offensive line, they're not as much that trait sort of base. They are seemingly performance-based from what they've done. Offensive line scouting, I think that could be guys like, obviously if Christian Darisaw falls there, I'd love that, but I don't think he will. Dylan Radins from North Dakota State, I could see them being players in him. Sam Cosmi from Texas, I could see them being players in him.
And did you want to touch on what do the Ravens need to do to secure Des Fitzpatrick?
Probably have his number ready after the draft for.
Brutal. That was rude.
That was rude.
He'll get drafted.
Yeah.
Fuck, he's good.
All right. Moving forward here. This is from HDIZHEDJSHDJD. That's my dad's name. If Micah Parsons falls to number 9 and the Denver Broncos take him over McFarley, who are some of the fits in the second and third round they could target to invest in our secondary?
So they kind of filled out that cornerback group. I don't think they're going to go cornerback after adding Kyle Fuller. Great move, by the way. Safety, though, they parted ways with Kareem Jackson. Still might bring him back. Whatever. Vic Fangio scheme, smart safeties, split field guys, Richie Grant, UCF, pencil it in the second round. If he's there, I think they would take him.
Dude,
that is their type of safety. Yeah. That is his Vic Fangio's type of safety. Richie Grant with what he does, I think would be an excellent fit for that defense.
Richie Grant was also a fantastic interview. Have to add. Super smart guy. Yeah. Loved him. All right. I'm going to jump to 2 questions a little bit further down that you haven't prepped, but I feel like you're ready for. This is from Josh78. I've been watching Mac Jones, and I was wondering what made Tua a better prospect.
Mac Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I said Josh Jones for some reason. I was like, I'm just out of it myself. What makes Tua a better prospect? I think it's the trait. Like, he is, one, much better runner. He could make stuff happen outside the pocket. Could even be used in their running game. Like, he did that at Alabama, was utilized in the running game. There's no read option that's going to work with Mac Jones. People are not going to respect it. It's going to be back like when Nick Foles was operating the Eagles offense and they started running that stuff and Nick Foles was sliding at the line of scrimmage every play. He kept it. So that, I think he has a little bit of a stronger arm. Now, that one's fairly close. And I just think he was a younger guy coming out. He was the one who started over Mac Jones. Like, he had still, you thought he could have his best football being ahead of him, only 3 years in college. So a lot of those things added up to us being higher in Tua.
Another Mac Jones question. If Mac Jones goes early inside the top 10 or top 15, could that situation allow for Kyle Trask to sneak into the back end of round 1?
I just think that there's a bigger second tier this year of guys that you don't have to reach on a Kyle Trask. You don't have to get a one in the first round. You can get Davis Mills, you can get Kellen Mond, you can get Kyle Trask somewhere in day 2. That you don't you can get a developmental guy. There's not just like one developmental guy. So I don't think that ends up happening the back end of round 1.
I'm going to keep peppering you because I know you're ready for these. This is from Enrique Shockwave 2277. Was wondering what your early thoughts on Matt Corral were and where he fits in the 2022 quarterback class if he opts to come out. I know you talked about him early in the podcast.
Yeah, I was impressed with what I saw. I was kind of pissed at the beginning of the season when he started over my boy there.
I know who you're talking about.
Name? Reese Plumlee, John Reese Plumlee.
Yeah.
Who's just electric. Oh, he was so much fun to watch. So hashtag fun to watch. Just, he needs to transfer somewhere where they're going to let him cook because that guy is a freak, legitimate. I mean, he's like a 4-4 type of quarterback, which are always fun to watch. But I thought he got better as the season went along, Corral, and 1 or 2 had some excellent deep balls down the stretch. And so not in the tier of, I wouldn't, not a first rounder right now, but like I said, he was the guy I tabbed just a little bit early on here. That was, that guy makes a leap. He could be the Zach Wilson, Joe Burrow, that class.
Another one, Reggie Bonifant Stan. We got a lot of Louisville. Wasn't Reggie Bonifant a Louisville guy? We got a lot of Louisville fans.
He was. He actually played quarterback when they went up there and beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame.
You don't remember that, Mike?
Son of a bitch.
If you had to rate the top quarterback prospects' arm strength on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being a punter and 10 being Brett Favre, where would they fall?
Ooh, okay. So Lance is not Brett Favre, but he's close. 9. I'm not going to do decimals.
Thank God.
Trevor Lawrence then is not quite Trey Lance, but it's close. I think he would be an 8. Zach Wilson an 8. Justin Fields 7, 8. He's close. Like he's right up there. I guess I'll do a decimal there. I'll do 7.8. He's
7.8, not 0.5.
No, 7.8.
Love it.
0.5 would be amateur. And then Mac Jones probably like a 4.
Really? That much of a gap?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, look, that speaks to a lot of what the rankings are. I mean, I think that was
it is below average in the NFL. He'll have below average arm in the NFL. And a lot of people push back on that, but it's like, go think about the 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And then think about his arm. Like Drew Brees was a 1 and he got
last
by.
year.
Yeah, last year Drew Brees was a 1.
Burrow's like a 2.
Burrow's a 3-4 in that range, I'd say.
Fair enough. All right.
Burrow's not a 2.
I got another one for you. From JKF BK. Which player in your current top... Oh, no. I'm sorry. I answered the wrong one. It was a simple question. This one is, why don't more tall players play cornerback?
Ooh, because it's tough. Like the reason why everyone wants the tall cornerback is because not a lot of guys can move that are 6'2", move backwards and play quarterback. Well, it's why there's not a lot of... It's like, why aren't there more 6'8" point guards in the NFL or in NBA? Like, why isn't everyone who's 6'8" just play point guard? Well, it's tough when you're 6'8" to be able to beat guys off the dribble consistently and break down the defense because you're not as agile. When you start getting taller, you lose a lot of that suddenness that it takes to play the cornerback position. So that's
because as you get taller, you also get heavier. I mean, it's harder to be thin, hard to be in a position where you're cutting on a dime and running sub 7 3 cones when you're like 6'4". Your
center of gravity, like that's why Rondale Moore moves the way Rondale Moore does because he's 5'7". If he was 6'2", he wouldn't move the way Rondale Moore does. Yeah, that's a big part of it. So.
We're going to keep churning here. I'm loving
the
these.
The first question I can answer. It's about KJ Stephenson.
Go ahead, go.
Yes. You go.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. It's stupid me. All right. My brother-in-law brought up, huge Notre Dame fan brother-in-law. This is from Ryan from Chicago. Brought up KJ Stephenson, the Notre Dame wide receiver, to me as a potential beast as a draft prospect, but it wouldn't be on many radars because of his off-field issues. He knows I enjoy writing up draft players in my free time. Wow, love that. And told me to look into him. What do you think of him?
So I had forgotten this about Stephenson, actually. He got arrested on back-to-back days back when he was at Notre Dame.
I
had forgotten that it was that close together. Back-to-back days he got arrested at Notre Dame. Basically, about his red flag. Like, that's like you're begging to be kicked out of Notre Dame. They don't have much of a tolerance there. They had a guy, they kicked out a guy. I don't know if I should say his name, but a guy had to transfer from Notre Dame because he had a girl in his dorm room after hours. Notre Dame doesn't fuck around about their rules and breaking them. So back-to-back days, that was signed his receipt there at
that
Notre
really
Dame.
Signed his receipt. You can't have girls after hours at
Yeah,
Notre Dame?
Is this Notre Dame or BYU?
That was Notre Dame. That was I don't know if I
Dude, no wonder you've kind of graduated college and just become an absolute savage. Just
Okay.
so much repression at Notre Dame. They literally breeding monsters.
I mean, I moved off campus after my sophomore year, so then they don't care.
Okay.
It's when
that
you're
makes
on
sense.
campus.
Yeah. They don't track you when you go off
But
campus.
Stefferson is, I mean, talent-wise, he's got it, like that uncoachable movement skills and body control and just what it takes, the skill part of the wide receiver he has. And he's a very high-level athlete. Now, the coachable part, can he take to coach? Can he even improve? He has improved. He didn't improve when he went from freshman year to sophomore year to even at Jacksonville State. He peaked as a true freshman at Notre Dame. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the talent, it is there. It is real. He started over Chase Claypool and Miles Boykin. He was better than them when he showed up to campus. But everyone's developmental curve is different, so we'll see.
This one I think is a fun one. CF4321 wanted to ask, I think the Texans are in a potentially very elite spot. They can stomach the dead cap hits of the following deals. Who says no? That was it. He didn't list the deals.
He didn't list the deals.
But I think this is obviously before free agency when they signed 35 players. I don't know if they're in a potentially elite spot anymore. What has your opinion been, without jokes, leave the jokes out of it. What has your opinion been of what they've done in free agency by adding legitimately more than 32 players this free agency that I would call none of them being tier 1, tier 2 caliber players?
I mean, it's hard to do it without jokes because it is a joke. Quite literally. This is not, unless you are, I don't think their plan is to tank. I don't think that's what they're trying to do. But they are trying to instill a culture or whatever, trying to weed out the guys they identified as problems on their roster and guys who weren't right culture fits to bring in their culture. That's why they're completely overhauling. And culture gets you so far in the NFL. And I'm not sure they have the best culture, but even if you did, it only gets so far. Talent at the end of the day talks, and they are not a more talented team now than they were when they went 4-12 a year ago with Deshaun Watson. And even if they had Deshaun Watson, they'd be a less talented team now, which is crazy to think about. But I mean, they have to hit reset. They had to with that roster and with the cap situation. But man, not the way I would have gone about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you, man. I think this is the Houston Texans. It's hard to not.
Remember when we said, where we're like, which are the best GM jobs in the NFL that are open? And we're like, yeah, the Texans could actually be all right. You just have to stomach it. It's like, no, that Texan job looks like ass right now.
Dude, the roster has completely been overhauled, and I don't know if they got better in any area. Did they get better anywhere? Maybe the running back room because they added Philip Lindsay and Mark Ingram. Fuck. I mean, it's dire straits there in Houston right now. Houston, we have a problem, and it's honestly the roster. The problem is the roster. All right, I have a few more questions here before we jump off. The bonus mailbag coming to a close. This is from Sun Devil David, kind of putting you on the spot here.
Oh.
If Andrew Luck and Trevor Lawrence were in the same draft class and not knowing how Luck's career would turn out, injuries, early retirement, etc., who would the first overall pick be? And would there be a consensus among teams and media? Obviously not. With Chris Sims having fucking Zach Wilson ahead of Trevor Lawrence, I think you would not see a consensus. Keep up the great work. Can't wait for the great content leading up to the draft.
I could be Trevor Lawrence. Now, would there be a consensus? No. It's very close. Andrew Luck. They both had that high floor. I think Lawrence has better tools, though. I think Luck was just had the better frame. He was already 235, 240 coming out. He was big dude. That hit he had against the USC wide receiver, was that redshirt junior year, was pretty awesome. No hits like that on Lawrence's tape. I don't know if he has that gene in him. But Lawrence can scoot, man. Lawrence is faster than Andrew Luck. So I'll say Lawrence by a hair, but there would not be a consensus.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about Trevor Lawrence is a lot of people have been asking me, and I think others, about what is a comp for Trevor Lawrence. I think common comps you hear for Lawrence are like Elway, Peyton, Luck, but that's just comparing just how good of a prospect he is. I don't think his traits or his play style are all that similar to Luck. He is he's unique. Yeah, he's unique. He's a legitimate 4.6 athlete with he can run. There's a lot of things that Trevor Lawrence can do athletically that some of those other quarterback prospects that were all time couldn't even do that Trevor Lawrence can.
Yeah, and he's oddly skinny, but then it doesn't really matter with the way he plays. I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool prospect.
All right,
cool
this
dude.
is
He's got a nice flow.
I think this is a good question coming off the Monday episode where we did the running back and tight end positional overviews. This is from Call Me Anything You Want. Ramondre Stevenson, Trey Sermon, Larry Roundtree. I would love to hear both of you break down these mid-round running backs. What do they do well, and what do they struggle with? And why should the Dolphins wait till day 2 for a running back?
We just broke down why they should wait till day 2. Broke that down in spades. Ramondre Stevenson, power back, bigger dude, who's listed at like 247. Obviously came in the Senior Bowl and his pro day, I think, in the high 220s. That's a better weight. Really good feet for a big back. I think guys like he shreds arm tackles type of guy. He's not really a lower your shoulder power type of back, but he's more of a Joe Mixon kind of power back where it's like Joe Mixon is massive and you can't tackle him because you really have to just square him up to get him down because he's massive. So like Ramondre Stevenson, Trey Sermon, very elusive dude. I think just a solid in a number of areas, like all around good running back. I think he has good vision. Just like I said, I think earlier, the high end with him, I'm not sure there is much. Like I'm not sure he has great speed. Not sure he's particularly agile. I'm not sure he's going to be your receiving back in your offense. So those things with him. And then I'm really not a huge fan of Larry Roundtree. I just think he doesn't have the sand in his pants you like to see from a running back. Like when he tries to bang with the big dogs, like I think he goes down too easily. Like he doesn't, he's not going to take on a linebacker in the hole and fall forward. He's just kind of doesn't have that level of pop to him.
I love the use of those idioms there. Sand in the pants and bang with the big dogs.
Thank you.
That sounds pretty fantastic.
I've been listening to some Bucky Brooks lately.
I mean, Bucky Brooks, sensational. All right, I wanted to answer this question because it's about the Jacksonville Jaguars and what they were going to do in free agency, but obviously it's been passed. This is from Tableau Expert. It sounds like Cam Robinson is not coming back and Andrew Norwell is on the trade block. How do you think Urban Meyer's Jaguars will address the offensive line? So obviously Cam Robinson tagged. Andrew Norwell's still on the team. Yeah. So answer the question this way. How good do you think that Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line is? With Juwan Taylor, obviously at right tackle. Do you think they need to address it in the draft?
They don't have any glaring problem areas, but they're still not good is the kind of the issue there. They don't have I guess the only guy, the center whose name is now eluding me, Brandon Linder, is their only quality option at this point. Norwell's solid enough at this point in his career. So
also
you would like to upgrade. You would like to add to that offensive line. They could be in play with that second first rounder. That could be an offensive lineman with kind of the depth of this class. And so you would like to improve. But if you roll in with this offensive line, you're not going to stunt Trevor Lawrence's development, I don't think, at this point.
All right,
and I think that's why they tagged Cam Robinson. Basically to say, we don't, like, you paid for the certainty of not being awful at left tackle and not having to draft a left tackle is, I think, why they tagged him in the first place.
Friend of the pod 69 asked a similar question. With Norwell sounding like he's gone and Robinson's future also seeming in the air, what should the Jags do? Obviously, they wanted to keep both. And maybe they do need to get better at certain positions, but they kept both. They're not going to be addressing the offensive line early in this year's draft. All right.
They might be. I just said they might be.
You think they will?
They might. I could see it.
At 33?
Like, because it's 1 year on franchise tag. They're not playing. I don't think they're playing for this year. Their free agency strategy was certainly not to be playing all in for this year. They're kind of still building. And so I could see them, with, like I said, with that second first round pick, if the tackle value's there, I could see them going that way.
Walker Little, maybe?
I could see it. I just said I could see it.
All right, last one here for the bonus mailbag. This is from Big Chuck 99. The Giants have been mocked Pay or even Rousseau with Parsons still on the board lately. Parsons may be the better rusher with a higher overall ceiling. Am I missing something? This seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Parsons off-field issues. He was involved in, he was named in that bullying scandal that wasn't actually much of a scandal. Didn't get too many headlines. That was last year. That also was like Yetur Gross-Matos was involved in. And there's some other stuff too, but like, yeah, it could be.
Some bad off-field stuff. But what do you think purely on-field? What do you think of Parsons versus Pay and Rousseau? Would you take Parsons over both those guys?
Yeah. I think if I'm even just like as an edge rusher, I think, yeah. He's that quintessential good at football. Like that guy just gets it. He steps on a football field in the game, comes easy to him.
Dude, guess what? We only have 50 questions left before we catch up to March 10th, and then another 75 before we catch up to March 20th.
Hey.
We're getting close. We are getting close.
So what's that average of getting asked a day? It's 7.5 a day.
Oh, yeah, 7.5 a day.
If it's
okay.
75 to get 10 days. Whew. We love you guys.
7.5 a day. Love that support. Also, we're kind of getting through like each episode like 40 to 50, which is solid.
That's
solid.
solid.
We get through 40 to 50 every time. We're cruising.
In 2 a day, 2 a week.
2 a week.
We'll
catch up.
Draft day. I just did the math.
Nice. If you want to get your question answered on a future mailbag episode, make sure you go to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review, and drop your question in there. Until next time, guys. Austin Gale, producer Mike Quinn, producer Dave Sofaro, Mike Renner, 2 for 1 drafts.